Yeah, during the 2023 ASCO meeting in Chicago, the group of investigators and myself were honored to share the result of CONTACT-3. CONTACT-3 is a very important study, not just for renal cell cancer, but for GU-oncology and actually for oncology as a field. It was one of the first time in a randomized phase 3 setting. We asked the question whether continuing PD-1, PD-L1 inhibitor after progression on prior PD-1, PD-L1 inhibitor has any benefit. That question has not been asked in such a large randomized phase 3 study. So for that, we had over 500 patients with metastatic clear cell renal cell cancer. We took renal cell cancer as an example because this is a disease where immune checkpoint inhibitor have transformed how we do and how we work with kidney cancer. So over 500 patients were randomized to receive Cabozantinib, which is a standard of care, versus Cabozantinib plus Atezolizumab. The choice of the PD-L1 inhibitor here stemmed from the fact that we had safety data for Cabozantinib, Atezolizumab, good efficacy data in patients that didn't receive prior immune checkpoint inhibitor, and in addition, unlikely to get Atezolizumab prior, since the drug, despite the response rate of 25% in untreated patient, hasn't been used much. It's not approved in untreated patient. So 2 arms, Cabozantinib, Atezolizumab, patient with clear cell, or some of the non-clear cell like papillary were allowed. Primary endpoint, progression-free survival was overall survival, and we found no difference in PFS, no difference in OS, no difference in response rate, with increased toxicity in the combination arm. I think this is very important, not just for renal cell cancer. That's important because we see practices, at least in the US, where patients are re-challenged with a different checkpoint inhibitor as a single agent or in combination upon progression. And we call to call of action whether this is the right thing to do. At the end of the day, checkpoint inhibitor, yes, they transform how we treat cancers in general and kidney cancer in particular. But perhaps if you had the chance to receive enough an immune checkpoint inhibitor, you should not be challenged. So we call for other tumors to do the same study. Of course, this doesn't take in consideration a patient, let's say, that had a long time between tumor, between discontinuing the PD-1 inhibitor, PD-L1 inhibitor, and re-challenging. It doesn't take, in consideration other immune checkpoint inhibitor, but I would argue it's probably the same. And we have another study that is accruing called TiNivo-2 that is quite similar in design, but instead of Cabozantinib, we have Tivozanib. And instead of Atezolizumab, we have Nivolumab. And that study is actually, accruing and with a PD-1 inhibitor. So I think this is an important study overall to the field.